Welcome back to Bride Price, a culture or the new slavery. This is the final episode of this exclusive footage brought to you by MIFUMI, which captures the views of extraordinary people on bride price. In the first episode, we discussed bride price and its meaning in our society today. In the second episode, we explored the vices of bride price through the eyes of the men and women who have experienced these problems firsthand. We reminded viewers of the foresight of Bishop Joseph Chiwanuka of Masaka, who in 1961 had the vision to regulate bride price to 120 shillings only, effectively turning the culture into what we know today as Kwanjula, where bride price is not demanded and is never returned. In the third episode, we addressed the challenges of reforming the bride price practice. And last week, we shared with you MIFUMI's reasons for going with this matter to the Constitutional Court and what people had to say about the ruling. And finally today, we say, never mind the past. Look to the future as we ask, what is the way forward on bride price? Since it is women that are most affected by the vices of bride price, what message is there for women?
In brief, I like to see, I think it's possible to have a women's movement, which is not there now. Women can join together. Women's organizations can join together. Mothers' Union, they are now working separately. But they come together because they have the destiny is the same. And a healthy community of women create a healthy nation.
Women should not shy away, should come out and stand and fight for their rights. Because the culture which is there, it's the people who makes the culture what it is. They have to stand firm and know that women's rights, it's human rights. And we are also people like others. So we have to say no where we feel that we are not happy with the bride price.
I hope women can find justice in this, and I hope that the judges who will sit to hear this case will give it all the due honor that it deserves. We know women go through this. The two are so related. Bride price causing domestic violence and domestic violence, vice versa. Now, when we look at these two, we are now talking about bride price. But how long has it taken our government to put a ruling on the table on domestic violence?
What do the religious leaders have to say?
Church law should never be in conflict with civil law. The two are in agreement. There is no contradiction. As far as we are concerned as a church, a contract in marriage, a matrimonial contract, is between two persons. No third party should influence that contract because then it is no longer a free choice. We only have a priest as a witness. We have other witnesses. But the contract, the matrimonial contract, is between the two who are entering into a covenant. For the state to step into that contract is to poke its nose in a field that does not belong to it. And we're sorry if there are Christians among the lawmakers. If you are passing that sort of issue, you are interfering with the privacy of individuals and the spiritual realm where the church alone operates. You can start ruling within the church what our laws have already dictated for the last 2,000 years. And so the ruling on bride price imposed on these laws is a serious issue that is going to bring a big rift, conflict between Christianity and the state. And if we're going to look at the repercussions, possible repercussions, I don't think that this law on bride price should be left as it is, as it stands.
Is there a message for the government? Is there any message for men?
Do we have to wait another 25 years for this government to see that bride price needs to be regulated? That we cannot keep selling our women? We cannot keep exchanging them for money and property? Do we need another 25 years?
We see this as a case for us really like an opportunity to bring to the attention of government that there's a problem, because the Constitutional Court passed a ruling against bride price. For them, they imagine there's no problem, but there's a problem down here, a big problem. So if we used the case of Alupo to again profile the issues of bride price and take it up, then we would bring to the attention of government and to other stakeholders that we actually have a problem, and the Constitutional Court actually made a wrong decision.
Since it is women that are most affected by the vices of bride price, what message is there for women?
We should not believe that our inequality cannot be changed. If we believe that inequality is the order of life for women, then we fear our freedom. It looks to us, it seems to us like a vast sea which we fear to venture into. But we should not fear freedom. This thing is about coming together and fighting oppression. Rome was not built in a day. MIFUMI is here. It is a voice for the voiceless. It is especially a voice for women. We need more women to come out, join us, say that this thing is wrong and we're not going to be deceived by the laws of the land or culture or the constitution or the judges. After all, they are also just interpreting the constitution. We live it. We know how it affects us. So women come together and say no. No to women's oppression and no to an end to violence. You know, we are saying we've just had enough of all this. We need to be taken more seriously.
I would ask a statement from the churches, the Christian churches, about their position in the church. I would ask Christians to stand up and demonstrate against this ruling, because it is opposed to our faith, it is opposed to our understanding of Christian doctrine, the dignity of person, the equality of the sexes, that God created them equal, male and female. And so if we have laws which degrade certain aspects of a person, these laws should not be held. So I think the church ought to speak out and make its clear position and represent the Christian body, whether that body is 60% of the population or 70% of the population. It ought to be respected by legislators.
Yeah, I think MIFUMI shouldn't give up. I think one day, one time, it will work out.
And I promise you, one day we shall have a fundamental change in this district, and we shall have a fundamental change in this country. And even the Supreme Court judges, one day I think they will have an idea to listen. We don't refuse bridal gift, but we are talking about bride price has a lot of negative impact. 1 is a source of poverty, 2 is a source of ignorance, 3 is a source of defilement, 4 illiteracy, then lastly it's a source of backwardness. I want to call a spade a spade. Thank you.
No. Okay. Refund is bad. Yes. Me, I think after you've given someone a present, it should remain a present. You shouldn't ask for it back.
What MIFUMI tries to do is to achieve at least 3 main objectives. One, for women, we want them to make a determined choice that violence and abuse will never be part of their lives. And that involves a lot of counseling, support and training directed by women for the women. Then we have the second strand, which is to try and reform the structures in the community, the laws and policies. We know bride price is a very critical underlying factor aggravating violence and abuse. Polygamy is another problem coming commonly through our processes, and we've taken that through the court processes as well. What we want is a strong framework that increases protection for women and children in a marriage or in a family, and takes account of their needs and wishes and aspirations in the decisions that we, the men, make within the family settings over property, over the future of the children, over the rights and responsibilities of everyone in that family. And then thirdly, we want a change of mindset.
For me, the whole issue of women's rights and the culture is not whether we can achieve justice, but when. It is just a matter of time. We will achieve justice.
Definitely, it's a legitimate battle. MIFUMI should keep doing it. It should get other actors involved. It should broaden its, battlefields, get more young people, men and women. Bride price is not a matter of women only. There is a lot of men who their mothers has been victimized by bride price. And I think our men have to be honest about that.
What one could do is to sensitize the various cultures to see the pros and the cons, for and against, in support and in favor and those not in favor, so that people are educated and then they adopt the better way.
And I think women across the Horn of Africa, they can do that. We have very strong women. We have really a lot of educated women who can lead the way instead of submitting to the old tradition and saying, oh yeah, I want a bride price and I'm fine with it and this is the only thing I get out of the marriage. You can get much more out of the marriage if you are perceptive and if you are strategic, and if you are thinking long term. Yeah.
I would say the church has to stand out clearly and proclaim its position. And because this country is 70% Christian, we should expect that 70% of this country should stand up for their Christian rights and morals.
Now, we are allowed to enjoy our culture. Article 37 says people are allowed to enjoy their cultures. Article 2, and remember it's Article 2, it comes before 37, says any culture which is inconsistent with this constitution is null and void. Bride price demeans women. It derodes their equality. It is unconstitutional. Bride price does not allow people to have that free consent to choose the partners in marriage. It is null and void. Bride price encourages the mistreatment, the degradement, the inhuman treatment of women, the torture of women. Domestic violence is because of bride price. It is unconstitutional. The Constitution says women should be treated with, should be valued, in the same way as men. So there are a lot of things that bride price, the culture, violates. And this culture of bride price violates all the constitutional provisions that were put in place to protect the women of Uganda. It no longer serves any useful purpose. It is high time women were set free from this culture.
Well, viewers, that was the final episode on bride price. The question, if you remember, was bride price, a culture or the new slavery? We all love to receive presents. Would you dictate what present you want? Would you expect to be asked to refund it? Would you expect to suffer because of it? We leave you to reflect on these questions.